What is up, everyone? Jay here with another Fire Emblem Heroes video, and today we're going to take a look at the next legendary hero, and it is for the Crown Prince of Brodia, Diamant. So Diamant is here, and part of me was hoping it would be legendary Chris or Minerva, because, you know, we just recently had the announcement for Resplendent Naga, or Resplendent Mythic Naga, and we had Resplendent Legendary Marth, so I was hoping they would continue the the 35th anniversary celebration this year, because they've done a great job with it. I mean, obviously, we still have a lot of months left. Well, maybe not a lot, but we still have, a good amount of the year left. And I'm not complaining, obviously, but Diamant is definitely something I didn't expect, but I definitely should have, because Engage Royals are obviously going to get their legendaries, so they're on their way. And Diamant, I believe, is the first one that isn't a Lear. So I know some people are upset that it isn't Alfred, because poor bro doesn't have any ults yet. I think he's the only Royal that doesn't have one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he is. Every other engaged royal, Timerra, Ivy, Saline, they all have alts, or at least one of them. So Diamant has his third version now, and he's an axe infantry, just like his ninja version. And this one is pretty insane. I mean, it's pretty predictable. You can kind of guess already what he's going to do, just be really bulky and hit really hard. But he has some new stuff, and here he is taking out New Year's Nidhogger, I believe. So, Fortified Axe is his weapon, -1 cooldown to start a player phase or enemy phase. If he's alive, he grants a Bulwark and also neutralizes penalty status during combat, and also increases the speed difference necessary for the foe to make a follow-up attack by 10 to unit and allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn. That's amazing support. Bulwark, I think, is a very, still kind of underrated status effect, because, I mean, it isn't that common, I guess. There isn't too many units that have it. Obviously, we have the spiked wall skills, but it's competitive to, it's a lot of skills to consider in the B slot, so sometimes you can't use Spike Wall. But for Diamant here, he just has the Bulwark built in, which is amazing, and he did come with a Bulwark skill originally when his base version released. And then if foe initiates combat, or if he's alive at the start of combat, grants a bonus to all of his stats equal to the number of allies within 3 rows, 3 columns centered on unit, times 3 plus 5, maximum 14. This is very familiar. Unit deals plus X times 5 damage, excluding AoEs, and reduces damage from foes' attacks by X times 3. And then also reduces damage from foe specials by an additional X times 3. X equals the number of bonus effects active on himself and the foe. So he obviously already gives like 3 of them to himself, so that's very synergistic. And that equals to a maximum of 5, and also grants special charge +1 per attack during combat, and also has 7 HP healing, so he's a self-sufficient tank for the most part. And then he comes with Arch Rival. So this special, when it released on Brave Baldur, which wasn't too long ago, so it's pretty funny that it's already back. When it released on Brave Baldur, I thought it was a PRF, but it's actually inheritable, and this special is the wave right now. This special is very good for just 1v1ing people that you want to, especially if you have triangle advantage. You get the special jump. So the 5 special cooldown on it is definitely like, oh, that's a bad thing, but you already have special jumping built in if you have triangle advantage. And if you just have special jumping in general, which isn't too hard to get nowadays, this special is very good. And you also have the pulse smoke on them as well, the upgraded pulse smoke. So this special is very good. So Brave Baldur just had it, and now Diamant has it. So, and this makes sense for him because he has fair fight, and you know how he works in Engage. And then he comes with a new distant counter skill, distant bonus amp. Okay, so this is basically distant counter plus a prime skill. So this is going to give him more stats depending on the number of bonus effects active on himself. So this is another cool option for Omni tanks like him. Then he comes with Fair Fight. So this is his, of course, signature. If bonus is active on the foe, or if unit's defense is greater than the foe's defense, he has the Brave Hits. So that's amazing. He just has Brave Hits on top of a weapon that is already 16 might. So no lost damage there. That's really good. And then he also inflicts -5 on everything except for res on the foe, deals true damage, 25% of unit's defense, excluding AoEs, reduces damage from the foe's attack by 25% of his defense, including AoE, so that's going to help him there. And it also reduces damage from the second strike of foe's first attack by an additional 25% of unit's defense. So this might sound confusing. So how can it be the second strike of the first attack? I think that means brave hits, right? So if they're doing a brave hit, then those 2 first hits are considered the first attack, I believe. So right? Am I tripping? So reduces damage from the second strike of foe's first attack. So yeah, that would have to be brave hits, because if it's their first attack and they're only hitting once, then yeah, I think that's how it goes. I don't know. I don't know anymore, guys. So an additional 25% of unit's defense for both unit and foe. You also have the damage reduction skills are going to be neutralized, and then also neutralize effects that guaranteed follow-up attacks and increases the speed difference necessary to make a follow-up attack by 20 during combat. And then if unit initiates combat, grant special cooldown count -2 to unit before unit's first attack during combat. And then keep in mind that stacks with arch rival, so you can trigger that special really easily for the most part. So yeah, this PRF skill is, you know, I appreciate whenever there's a legendary that doesn't have like a thesis statement for their skills, because Diamant is not that long of a text, thankfully, and it's not too hard to understand, I feel like. So basically, you know, TLDR, he's going to hit very, very hard, be very, very bulky, support his team, and give unique support with a bulwark, and well, maybe not completely unique, because, you know, a Toon Hector does that as well, but there's another unit that can do it that's an infantry, so he's got a different, you know, skill set and brings something different to the table. He hits twice with the brave hits, including, you know, it's not just player phase, it's also in both phases. So fair fight, even though it does say fair fight, it kind of makes it unfair for the opponent, honestly. So yeah, and then he comes with Brutal Tempest for extra movement, and of course Kanto. So he's going to be a really, I mean, he might not look like the craziest unit just because he doesn't have the longest description ever, but he's going to be a menace. You know, he's going to be able to function in both phases, no problem, trigger arch rival like nobody's business and just nuke people, and then, you know, catch people off guard with how bulky he is, and also supports his team. He won't let his backline, you know, get sniped. There's a stat 69 base attack, so he's going to have what base attack is that? So he's got a 16 might weapon, so that is 53 base attack, I think, which might be the highest in the game. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't keep track of the highest and lowest stats in this game, but 40 speed, I mean, that's not the highest, but that's still pretty good for a unit that bulky. He's got 51 base defense and 29 res, but I mean, the res is not the biggest deal because he has so much flat damage reduction, so that definitely helps. So here he is taking out Dual Rhea, who's definitely a huge threat. I mean, she's still very good, but against a unit like Diamant, an absolute unit like him who is going to hit like a truck, have arch rival, and just ruin people, be able to retreat, he's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think a little bit underrated. So here he is using that special. Ray is going to survive, but not the second hit. So that is pretty much Prince Legendary Diamant, or Legendary Prince Diamant. His brother Alcris, I'm sure we'll get a legendary version at some point. I mean, Diamant's not my favorite Engage character, you know, but he is pretty cool. He's one of the more serious characters in Engage, and it's funny because in Engage there's so many goofy and funny characters, but he's, you know, the prince of Brodia. He takes it very seriously, and he's completely different than his brother, who is a very you know, lacking in self-confidence. So here are the rest of the legendary heroes. We have Emblem Celica, Emblem Sigurd, Emblem Lyn, Larather, Emblem Erica, Fallen Dedu, Fallen Female Alir, Fallen Male Alir, Fallen Lena, Rearm Noir, Emblem Micaiah, and that is it. So this pool is actually pretty good. I don't think there's really any big duds here. I think green is the best one because it has Diamant, the new Axe Infantry King. It has Emblem Lyn and Fallen Female Lear, who are also amazing units. Emblem Lyn, there is counterplay to her, obviously, and there's some units she won't be able to kill for the most part, but you know, there is still a ton of units she can just snipe, and she can basically cheat with her range and being able to do it pretty much any turn. So Emblem Lyn is still really good in my opinion, and also Fallen Female Lear is just a top 5 Far Savior right now, or like top 7 or something. She is super bulky, not only as a Far Savior, but she can also take hits up close. She's just really annoying, and she saved me in some 8th or 8th seasons because I got a few copies of her, and her fodder is really good as well with Deluvio Boost and Scallion Fighter, Higher Ground. She can really just compress a lot of roles, not only be a frontliner, she can also take hits from a distance and also provide your team with the anti-warp support. And then the next best color I would say is red, probably red, because red has, I mean, Noir doesn't look that impressive, but she is a rearmed hero with really good fodder. Arcane Hexbow is pretty nice, so that, you know, fodder value is there. And then you have Fallen Male Alir, who I would say is not as good as his female counterpart, but he's still kind of underrated as a sword infantry. He can definitely be annoying. He has Miracle built in, he's got Disencounter, he has some nice fodder with Spiked Wall. I think it is in his B slot. So he's pretty decent. He's pretty solid, I'd say. Maybe not decent. Actually, he's pretty good. A little bit underrated just because of how, you know, how polluted the sword infantry class type is. And then last but not least, you have Emblem Erica, who is still a menace. She is an absolute cheat code of unit. She's kind of like Emblem Lyn, but for melee units because she just hits super duper hard. She can hit up close from 2 spaces and just canto back. Her ring is one of the best in the game as well, giving people the brave hits. Like America is just a cheat code. She's super super good. And then the next best color is between blue and colorless. What's better? Blue, I would say colorless is better, honestly, slightly, because you have Emblem Micaiah, who is good for obvious reasons. Her ring is also very nice, giving you an extra action, which is amazing. Larather, he's not the best like combat unit because there is a lot of units that can still just kill him, but his assigned decoy is still very annoying, especially if you're trying to omni tank, and if you're an omni tank who relies on your team, your teammates being close to you, or if they just overwhelm you with space, and let's say they have a setup where you can't even push your units back to where they can avoid the assigned decoy. Larather is a menace there. So as someone who uses dual Marth a lot and just tanks in general, he is definitely annoying. Assigned decoy is no joke, and it's something you can easily forget about as well. So Larather has that value. As a dark mythic, he's still pretty good. And then Fallen Lena is not the best unit, sadly. She is basically like a second coming of Fallen Maria, but there's just so many like broken units in this game that I feel like it's hard to justify giving her a spot on your team. I don't know. She definitely has a place sometimes. You can definitely make use of her, but there's already, miracle units, like Duo Rhea. So I don't know. Maybe she's a little bit underrated, but Fallen Lena is there. She provides some good fodder. So I think she's the worst out of the colorless batch, but I would still say colorless is the third best color here. And then last is going to be blue. Emblem Celica is still nice, I mean, overall, this banner is stacked. I wouldn't say, like I said earlier, I don't think anybody here is a real dud. But Emblem Celica's fallen off more than Emblem Sigurd has. Emblem Sigurd is still just amazing with his Gallop status, which is broken. Emblem Celica can obviously go through spaces and pass through them, but she just doesn't hit as hard as she used to, and there are there are tanks that can easily take her on, like Fallen Female Lear here. So yeah, Emblem Celica, she does still have that great fodder with Resonance and Verge of Death, so keep that in mind. But as a unit, she's not quite as good as she used to be. Emblem Sigurd, same deal with him, but not as much, I'd say. And then we also have Fallen the Dew as a beast armor, and he provides Arcane Crest, which is sadly probably the worst, not the worst combat wise, but just availability wise. There really isn't that many armored beasts in the game that can actually use it, so his fodder falls short there. But as a far saver, he is pretty good because he can save from 4 spaces away, if I remember correctly. So you don't have to be within 2 spaces. He can also do it from 4, which is pretty cool, and he can checkmate some teams, kind of like Fallen Male Lear can also, just catch you off guard and kind of just checkmate you as well. So the dude is a bit underrated there, I'd say. So a couple underrated units, I think. Maybe underrated is a word I say too much in FEH, because there's just so many. Like, you have the top of the top meta units, like Emblem Micaiah and Emblem Erica, but then you have units that are kind of below them that I still say are underrated. I don't know. I guess it's subjective, but I think they're a bit underrated just because I don't really see them. But when I do, they can definitely put in work. So yeah, that is the legendary banner for Diamant, the Fortified King. Let me know what you guys think down below, and if you're going to summon on it, good luck. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Leave me a ramble as usual. Please stay safe out there. Peace out.